All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Defined Symposium, Building Tomorrow's Skills Today, Career-Connected Learning. My name is Dr. David Reese, and I serve as the Chief Academic Officer for Defined. I am super excited today to serve as the MC, sharing the career-connected work and leadership of two incredible educators that I've had the opportunity to get to know over the last few years. Excuse me. First is Charlin Knight. Charlin is the Director of Workforce Education for Santa Rosa County Public Schools in Florida, and Irene Parisi, who serves as the Chief Academic Officer for the Connecticut State Department of Education. Our structure today will begin by Charlin sharing the work happening in Santa Rosa County, followed by Irene sharing the systemic work occurring in Connecticut through the state's Department of Education. During each presentation, please share any questions you may have in the chat. I will be monitoring the chat. We will stop a couple of times to answer questions, and then at the conclusion of the presentation, we can also address any additional questions you may have. And just to let you know, a recording of the webinar will be sent out within the next few days. So let's begin. First, I'd like to introduce Charlin Knight. As I mentioned, she's the Director of Workforce Education for Santa Rosa County School District. Charlin has served as the director since 2012. She provides leadership and technical expertise in the planning, development, implementation, and evaluation of adult, technical, and community education programs designed to meet the needs of students throughout Santa Rosa County. She's a graduate of the University of West Florida, where she received her bachelor's and master's degree. She has taught business education at the Technical College, computer science, and teacher education at Pensacola State College and the University of West Florida, respectively. She also serves in various community leadership roles, including the Chamber Board, Career Source, for Escorosa board member, and various business and industry advisory roles. She has a strong history in career academy development across Northwest Florida, and she strives to encourage education, business, and industry to work collectively to ensure today's students have the necessary training opportunities to be the skilled workforce needed in their region. So with that, Charlin, thank you so much for taking the time. It's great to see you, and we will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you to the entire Defined team for giving us an opportunity today to share Santa Rosa's journey in providing career-connected learning for all of our students. And I emphasize all of our students, and I'll talk a lot about that today on how we want to make sure that our opportunities are available for all students. Dave, thank you for the introduction. 30 years teaching experience. The last 12 of those, I've been here at the director level at the district office. And before that, I was 5 years as a building level administrator and then 13 years as a teacher. So my role in the CTE director position is to make sure that I serve our teachers and students well and making sure they have career opportunities for them waiting after high school. So I want to make sure that I don't forget where I came from in that process, that I'm able to provide support to my teachers to make sure that that work is accomplished for the district. But some of the roles that I'm able to serve in the community help me accomplish that. You mentioned some of my board roles, but I can't say enough about the relationships and how much they matter to our successful work that we're doing in Santa Rosa Career Pathways here in our community. But Lisa, if you'll progress us to the next slide. The first thing I want to talk about is who is Santa Rosa and where are we? So for those of you that aren't familiar with our community, we are located in the Florida Panhandle. That's Northwest Florida, way up in the top part of the state. We're one of the few counties in Florida on Central Time. We serve 30,000 students in our district, and while we are a small district, in our eyes and in the state of Florida, we fall into that large district category, that 25,000 to 98,000 students. But with 30,000 students, I feel like we're on the small side of that. But we are small, but we are mighty. We have 3,700 educators in our district, and we have 35 school sites. We boast an A rating since the inception of school grading in Florida, so we're very proud of that. As you can see on my slide, we are one of the top 10 districts based on the 23-24 student achievement data. We're third in the state in algebra, fourth in the state in English language arts, fifth in math, sixth in biology, sixth also in U.S. history, ninth in geometry, and we've increased in overall achievement for 13 out of the 14 assessed categories in Florida. We're very proud of that. One of the other things that we are extremely proud of in Santa Rosa County is our graduation rate. We have a 90.9% graduation rate, and our superintendent, Dr. Karen Barber, likes to allow us to celebrate that number. But while we celebrate that number, we're never accepting of that number. We're always striving for making sure that all of our students have the opportunity to graduate, and not just graduate, but graduate with a successful future ahead of them, with all the skills and credentials that they need to make that happen. If you want to progress to the next slide, Lisa. So I told you a little bit about who we are and where we are. I want to talk about our why. And you can ask almost any employee in the Santa Rosa County School District, what is our mission? And they're all going to tell you it's to love, educate, and prepare all students for graduation and a successful future. And our superintendent boasts that we do start everything we do with love for our students. But I get to be an integral part in workforce education in that successful future piece, and that what our teachers and programs do is make sure that those students have those skills needed for that successful future. So next slide, Lisa. So we do that in Santa Rosa County through our Santa Rosa Career Pathways, and that is how we market our career and technical training opportunities for students. And I've been in this role for about 13 years, and that used to be a primarily high school emphasis. But in the last several years, the state of Florida's CAPE funding model and the focus and emphasis on industry certifications and students earning those nationally recognized credentials of value have led us to offer more middle school programs, and in the last couple of years, even programs down into our elementary schools. And you may wonder, how can we offer career and technical training in the elementary school? But I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today. So as you can see from this list of programs that we have available in Santa Rosa County, we have a robust offering for our students. So we like to believe that we have something for everyone there. I mentioned those opportunities begin in elementary school. These opportunities empower our students and provide them with immersive ways to experience career pathways. But most importantly, their time spent in our career and technical training programs offer them the skills that they need to be successful in life, not just in those next steps for post-secondary education and career, but focusing heavily on life skills. So next slide, Lisa. I want to talk a little bit about some of the successes that we have experienced in our career pathways programs. We in Santa Rosa County focus on 16 of the 17 recognized career clusters. So if you are not in Florida, you may be thinking, well, there are only 16 career clusters, but in Florida, we recognize a 17th career cluster, and that is energy. So in Santa Rosa County, we're focusing on career and technical training in 16 of those 17 areas. We have programs at 4 of our elementary schools, at our 35 middle school programs. We have 58 individual high school career and technical training programs. And then our technical college in Florida is part of the school district, and they have 15 programs serving adults in our community, and 7 of the programs at the technical college are strictly available for high school students only. And we were really proud to say that our technical college has 7 programs dedicated to high school students, because that just shows the interest in our parents and students around career and technical training, and making sure that their students are taking advantage of these opportunities that come to them free of charge while they're a public education student in Florida. And we have a robust program at Laughlin Technical College here in Milton, Florida, training our future workforce. This past year, the 23-24 school year, we earned almost 10,000 industry certifications for our students. And those are those industry certifications that are recognized by the state of Florida on our CAPE funding list. Florida is one of the few states in the nation that provides a bonus FTE model for students who earn industry certifications, and that money goes directly back into those CTE programs that generated those certifications. So it allows us to put money into those programs for highly sought after equipment, the best curriculum, and then opportunities for those students. But it also puts an important piece into the puzzle through a bonus for our teachers. So our career and technical education educators have an opportunity to earn a pretty hefty bonus each spring. Some of our teachers earn upwards of $7,000, $8,000, even $10,000 for those industry certifications earned by their students. I mentioned our technical college. We have over 200 students who attend our 6 traditional high schools, who actually come out to our technical college for half a day and focus their electives on getting that career and technical training certificate and industry certification for them to go directly into the workforce. And at Laughlin Technical College, we had last year 191 graduates. Those are adults graduating into our community with credentials, and those adults held over 300 industry certifications, credentials that have been deemed valuable by our workforce locally. So that is pretty impressive when you look at less than 200 students earned over 300 credentials, and it shows that value of stacking those credentials. In the workforce, they're looking for students who are not just coming out with one credential, but if you're coming out in an IT program holding 3 or 4 valued credentials, lets those employers know that you've gained the skills and knowledge that you need to be of added value to their workforce. Lisa, next slide.
Charlin.
So I talked.
Oh,
Yes, Dave.
I'm sorry, Charlin. I didn't mean, I was trying to catch you and then I was on mute. I just wanted to ask, one of the questions that came up is the technical college, Laughlin, is it similar to career technical education centers around the country?
It is, and different states have different models. Some states, I guess maybe 3 years ago, Florida's career and technical centers, which were formerly vocational centers, became technical colleges. So depending on the state that you're in, the model and the name looks different, but it's the same thing. It's career and technical training. And that minuses the academics. So students that are going to the technical college are focusing strictly on career and technical training programs, getting ready to go for jobs in electricity, IT, hospitality and tourism, those things, but minus that academic side. So a lot of them have come straight out of our high schools. So they have that high school diploma, and this is just that added value technical training on top of that.
All right. And also, before you start, just to let you know, the state of Texas said congratulations on the 10,000 certifications. It's quite impressive.
Well,
so
thank you. And I watch what's going on in Texas, so I know that we are competitors, and that they are another state that is bonusing and recognizing the value of industry certifications, and that that makes me feel good. I will say I came from having 30 years in career and technical education. I came from the days where our cred was hard fought. We were considered vocational education that was only for kids who can't go to college. And I'll say that again, that's one thing that's been recognized in our community, is that this opportunity is for all students. We all need workforce skills. And I think our community has really rallied around that idea, and you can see that from our growth. But that leads me into our growth in credentials. In that 23-24 year, that was a 48% growth over the previous year. And you can see by the chart that I've prepared that we've experienced exponential growth since 2020. And that comes from just really focusing and emphasizing from the district level on the importance and value of these credentials. We've added industry certifications into our elementary programs through the digital tool model that Florida allows us to bonus, similar to the CAPE funding model. It just is a much smaller bonus, but it definitely incentivizes those elementary schools to look at how to add that valued credential to their students. It also it makes sure that our students are leaving the district with not just that diploma, but some form of credential for the next step, whether that be college or career. And another thing that Florida does that I'm very proud of is we offer math and science credit for those industry certifications. So a good many of our industry certifications articulate straight to the state college for credit. And we allow students to get math and science credit for those. So that's a big deal for us in Santa Rosa County and for Florida. And sometimes that's a big encourager for students to know that, you know, when they were looking at elective options, it helps give some credibility to our CTE electives, because they know they're going to also get that math or science credit for earning that industry certification. And I will say that this growth has, you know, it really helps us to do big things in career and technical education, because this added bonus FTE brought us around $3 million to my department, and that goes back directly into those programs. So it allows our teachers to have the latest equipment and the best opportunities to show careers to students. But next slide, Lisa. I want to talk a little bit about the why and get into how we use defined careers and why we use defined careers. But why career exploration and the resources are so important to our students is really because when you take a student who has not been exposed to any kind of career exploration opportunity, their influence is limited. When we look at data showing us that 1 in 10 say they want to be a medical doctor, and only 1 in 3 can cite only 10 jobs, we know that a big piece of what influences students for career opportunities in the future is that parental influence, that social background. So if you have a student who comes from a disadvantaged background, they're going to be able to you know, visualize less opportunity. And we know you know, students can't be what they can't see. So we want to start young and often showing them all of the many career opportunities that are out there. And one of the great things about our Defined Careers platform is that it gives teachers another tool to help students find their interests, discover their preferences, understand the importance of interest and aptitude, and how they can change that. If they may have a passion for something, and if they don't have that aptitude, it gives us that opportunity for that conversation on how they can improve something to be able to get to where they want to be. But most importantly is that piece that allows us to make sure our students are making well-informed decisions around what they want to be when they grow up, and that's based on reliable information. So next slide, Lisa. I want to just talk a little bit about how it looks in Santa Rosa County comparatively from elementary to middle to high school with regard to workforce education. And I want to talk about how we model career exploration and workforce development in elementary school. And I often talk to people who say, how in the world are you doing that in elementary school? But it really starts with exposure. And we have a very robust STEAM Innovate program here in our district. Our superintendent is responsible for that work that began, I guess, around 12 years ago. Very recently, we brought STEAM Innovate under workforce education because it just makes sense. We're really working toward the same goal, making sure that our students have that opportunity for a successful future. And STEAM Innovate is where it starts in our elementary school. So we're exposing students to those career options as early as possible and allowing them to study those systems, to develop the 4 C's, to develop higher level thinking, and showing them that relationship between those activities. And then we're exploring opportunities for different career pathways. And that's where Defined Careers really comes in for us, with focusing more on the defined learning platform for that in our elementary schools, but giving students those project-based opportunities to hear about different careers and what does that look like? What is a day in the life around that career? What are some of the tasks that someone in that career might be doing? And then introducing students to arts, design, and coding is a big part of what we do in Santa Rosa County. That is the A in STEAM for us. So we want to make sure that students are embracing those skills at a young age and then able to build on that. And then the support piece, supporting that exploration of STEAM subjects. And one thing that we do in Santa Rosa County is we have a STEAM Innovate coordinator, and he works closely with our STEAM innovators in the district to make sure that they have the training and support needed to deliver STEAM education to our students. And that can be as simple as supporting a teacher with an idea in the classroom, or building, designing, and delivering PD for teachers, or taking our think tank out to a school for an event, or to serve a classroom, or to serve a parent STEAM night. Another thing that we do is we offer the Zello platform in Florida. 2 years ago, at the same time we entered our relationship with Defined Careers, we entered into a partnership in the state with Zello, and Zello provides our career exploration piece. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we get to the middle school section. But also industry certifications in elementary school is something that we do. I mentioned that earlier when I talked about our programs. We do that in 4 of our elementary schools. So our students at the 5th grade are actually earning some of those in fundamental industry certifications. We use this CIW and the ICT fundamentals. So those are really basic fundamental industry certifications around what is a computer and how does a computer work, and living online and being socially responsible online. So making sure that our students are not just getting that exposure to those tech skills early, but also understanding the importance of credentials and getting some confidence in earning those credentials at a very young age. So next slide, Lisa. Thank you for being my slide advancer. I appreciate that. So when we look into workforce education in middle school, that is where the Defined Careers piece comes in heavily for us. So we're focusing on exposing students in middle schools to those college and career options available to them. We're helping them discover their passion. In Florida, one of the requirements to move out of middle school into high school is to have a career plan. And that is something that the state requires us to use Zello to do. But we have found that a lot of teachers are using that toolkit and Defined Careers to allow students to explore different careers through career tasks. So we may be creating that career plan on Zello, but the actual tasks that the teachers are using to inform that instruction in the classroom are coming from our Defined Careers platform. And Defined Careers at the middle school has given us an opportunity to show students what a particular job would be like, helping them to see the different career options that they may not have already considered. And then they align with our Santa Rosa Career Pathways, our CTE programs that they're going to see when they move over into high school. In addition to these tools, we're also putting more opportunities to earn industry certifications into our middle school programs. All of our students in Santa Rosa take a course, Florida names Digital Information Technology, but we've built into that course more foundational skills around IT and communication online and how to use multimedia. So we do that through industry certifications called ICT Essentials. And we also start to build that entrepreneurial mindset in our students in our digital information technology class. So students get exposed to entrepreneurial skills and have an opportunity also to earn the Certiport Entrepreneurship and Small Business certification. So all students are leaving middle school in Santa Rosa County with a career plan and hopefully some sort of credential, some industry certification, whether that's in our technology area, entrepreneurship, and many of our middle schools also focus on robotics and engineering. So we're starting to expose students to more credential earning opportunities. And, we're looking at students who are leaving middle school in Santa Rosa County, some of them with 6 or 7 credentials already under their belt. So one of the beauties of that is they build that confidence for being able to earn that next level of credential at the high school. So preparing them for success in high school. Okay, Lisa, next slide. So then when we look at how we're doing career pathways in our high schools, hopefully by the 9th grade, students have participated in career exploration enough to have an idea about a chosen pathway. And if they've already found their passion, it gives them that 4 years to focus through our Santa Rosa Career Pathways CTE electives on a particular career, whether that be advanced manufacturing, biotechnology, engineering. It just allows them to dive deeper into that area, giving them 4 years of elective opportunities, then that opportunity to achieve stackable credentials toward fields like IT, healthcare, construction, the digital arts. And then the opportunity is still there for a student to pivot in high school. We don't want a student to get into a career pathway and decide they hate it and stick to it. We want them to continue to explore because I believe wholeheartedly that finding out what you don't want to be is as valuable as discovering your passion and part of that process. So this slide just kind of gives you an idea of some of the many credentials that are provided to our students in Santa Rosa County. And we're really proud to look at these credentials and know that these are the same credentials and the same exams that professionals in industry are taking, and that we're having such a successful pass rate among our students to be able to achieve that 10,000 mark industry certification. So next slide, Lisa. I'm going to start to talk a little bit more about the work of defined careers in our programs. And I'm going to come at it from a kind of a unique approach, but I'm going to talk about 3 different scenarios that we have going on where defined careers is being used in the district, and how we're using authentic experiences to allow students to solve real world problems and be solution finders. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Tracy Fischetti. Those are the images that you see on the slide here. Tracy Fischetti is one of our early adopters. She's a STEAM innovator. She is an English teacher, but she's also one of our CTE teachers in workforce education, and we're really proud of Tracy in her role as the Teacher Academy instructor. So Tracy is She's an amazing educator. She embraced our Defined Learning program a long time ago and has started to utilize Defined Careers as well with her students. But she is able to not only use Defined Careers for herself in the classroom as a teacher, but she's teaching our students how to use Defined Careers and Defined Learning and take those tasks down into the schools that her students serve as teacher mentors. So Tracy's students are in the Teacher Academy because they want to be educators, and we want to foster what it's like to be a great teacher. And we have one of our greatest doing that. And we are able to use the Defined Careers platform in that process. So we're seeing the fruits of that Teacher Academy work in our district because we're now beginning to hire those students who they go through our Teacher Academies. We now have grown our Teacher Academy program to be at 4 of our high schools. And we have over 100 students are enrolled in our Teacher Academy, demonstrating a desire to be a future educator. And we allow those students to actually work in our elementary and our K-8 schools with students. So this is just a great example of how we're not only using Defined Careers for tasks and lessons within our classrooms, but we're taking it even further with students to add it into their toolkit as a future educator, letting them use the products that we're using to inform instruction while they're still students. So next slide, Lisa. Dave, I didn't know if you want to, if you have any questions yet in the chat that I need to address based on what we've talked about so far.
Charlin, we do have some questions. What I'm thinking is I've been kind of organizing them. So why don't you work through and then we'll come back and we can answer, because you have lots of people thinking about lots of great ideas that they want to pick your brain on. So
okay,
all good.
Sounds good. I'll keep going then.
Okay.
So then when we look at just some of the ways that Defined Careers has enhanced instruction and learning in our schools, we're giving teachers authentic tasks, providing that immersive environment, and facilitating that teaming. And if you were a part of the symposium last session, our superintendent, Dr. Barber, talked a great deal about student-led academic teaming and the focus on that in our district. And Defined Learning and Defined Careers have been a vehicle for that for our teachers. Our CTE teachers know that Defined Careers is the go-to. Our district and Dave joke about how I talk about Defined Learning and defined products as being like the Hello Fresh for teachers. So it just gives them the what to do and how to do it, and all they really need is to put it into action and have the supplies and resources necessary to be able to deliver that instruction. But it also provides that positive impact on student engagement, and student engagement is at the forefront of our work in Santa Rosa County. And I co-chair our student engagement of our strategic plan for the district, and we know that our students' engagement is critical to their success. And that positive impact on student engagement from Defined Careers comes through that tailored learning experience, and being that experience being based on a student's interest and career aspirations that they're able to define through our Defined Careers platform. Defined Careers is supporting that personalized learning for a student and allowing them to explore those careers at their own pace. And then the most important piece to me is allowing that portfolio development and being able to put in projects that they have done through their Defined Careers tasks into that portfolio to take with them on to the next step. Okay, so next slide, Lisa. So I'm going to talk, the pictures that you see on this slide are around one of our CTE teachers programs, classrooms. Michelle Thorpe. She teaches manufacturing technology, so advanced manufacturing, and she does that half a day. And then the other half of the day, she is a game design teacher. So she's also one of our STEAM innovators. So she had been exposed to defined learning early and has picked up defined careers and is using it in her classroom. But some of the main things that we see in our CTE programs with using defined careers is curriculum alignment. I can give you an example of our nursing teachers and how they now have resources at their hand through defined careers tasks that align to like national health standards, providing them lesson plans, assessments, and projects that make sure their students have those skills that they're going to be needing, whether they go into a pre-nursing area or patient care, just understanding medical terminology, things that are directly related to what industry is looking for. And then the real world application for defined careers task. I can give you an example of culinary teachers. They are able to, implement projects through defined careers. An example is creating a business plan for a restaurant. And it allows students to explore things like budgeting and menu design and food safety. Those things directly relate to what they're going to see in the hospitality industry, but they also directly relate to what students are going to see on those industry certification exams. When we look at hospitality and tourism, culinary students in Santa Rosa County are all focusing on the Serve Safe exam and the NRFSP food safety exams. So those tasks that they're able to perform are also correlating to their credential attainment. And then teachers have said how much they appreciate having those assessments and rubrics built into defined careers that they can use to evaluate their students' projects. One example that was given to me was automotive technology and how students can assess the ability to diagnose and repair a vehicle using criteria that directly reflect to industry standards. And we know that our students are looking toward that ASE automotive certification, and it's great to see that those are the thoughtful things that have been built into the defined product, that correlation to industry standards. And then lastly, the collaboration opportunities that working with Defined provides, not just collaboration here among our teachers in our district, but opportunities like today's webinar, opportunities like some ideas that Dave is exploring around building tasks, engaging our local workforce partners, and how that opportunity not only connects our CTE teachers with local business and industry, but it also addresses that big issue that teachers have with time, and that there not being enough time to get out and make those meaningful connections. But with products like Defined Careers, it allows our teachers to feel that connection to business and industry, and even local business and industry through this tasks and the curriculum provided here. But the next few slides are just going to tell you a little bit about some things that we as Santa Rosa Career Pathways provide our families and our students and our community to engage with them. So Lisa, if you want to progress to our next slide. We have a robust website, santarosacareerpathways.com, and we direct our parents and students there so that they can really see those in-demand occupations that their students are working toward through our programs. And we have aligned this work with our local economic development office. We built a website, we have Instagram and Facebook, but it's a way for us to communicate with our parents what those high skill, high wage, in-demand occupations are, and then also the training pathways that would lead a student there. So not just those training pathways right here in our school district, although they're included, but also those post-secondary pathways. That is that next and later step for our students after they attain that high school diploma. Our next slide, Lisa, is just showcasing some of the engagement events that we have taken place just this school year in Santa Rosa County. Our upcoming Santa Rosa Career Pathways Expo, that's this month. My team is feverishly getting ready to see hopefully several hundred students and parents here at our district offices for a night of immersion into career pathways. So we invite out our high school career pathways programs to come and plan some sort of activity. It's a quick, simple, hands-on, immersive activity that shows parents what goes on in their high school career and technical training programs. And this event is for our 8th grade families, but we advertise it throughout the community, and anyone is welcome to come. But we also engage our business and industry community there through allowing them to have booths to provide job information or community outreach information to our families. So it becomes a community engagement event as well as a student engagement event. Another event that I'll showcase, I'm using our Milton High School as an example, but all of our high schools have a career fair on campus, so students don't have to go anywhere else but their home high school to get this career information. So they invite out local business and industry who are hiring to come out and see parents and students and showcase those opportunities that are right here in our community. And those events have become quite successful, and they draw a pretty large crowd of not just students who are interested in job and career fair information, but also parents too. And then lastly is one of the just one example of ways that our business and industry community lean into what we're doing in career and technical education here in Santa Rosa County is the Northwest Florida Construction Career Days. And you can ask students in our district about this event, and there's a lot of buzz around it. Everybody wants to get the invite to come to this event, and it is for our juniors and seniors, but it is just a real immersive day of construction and engineering careers led by industry professionals. So students go out to our local fairgrounds, and our Department of Transportation has transformed the fairgrounds into a playground for construction and engineering, and students are able to experience booths and activities that show them what a day in the life of different careers in the field of construction and engineering would be like. They're operating heavy equipment. They're hearing from all the Department of Transportation and their contractors on what different jobs look like, and hearing about the very lucrative opportunities that are available to them in our, not just in our Northwest Florida region, but across the state. And then one of the beauties of this is that organization, the Department of Transportation, ties in some pretty valuable scholarships. Last year, we were able to give out 11 scholarships to Santa Rosa County students that help them take that next step. So that's one of the reasons that we focus on juniors and seniors for that event, is so that their time to market for the folks that are investing their time is short. We're looking at folks getting ready to graduate who might have never thought about a career in the construction industry, but boy, this event and those immersive opportunities really turn students' heads when they get to have that experience for the day, and then hear about some of the great earning opportunities in that field. But that is just a snapshot of some of the ways that we engage our parents, students, and our local business and industry community. And on the next slide, Lisa, I want to talk about a very distinguished recognition that we received this last year. We're really proud to have been recognized in the state of Florida as one of 23 districts out of 67 who were recognized as a Space Florida Space Academy district. And what that means is that work we're doing in workforce education and those credentials that we're making sure students leave with, and that training that we provide is a direct way that we're meeting the needs of the space industry here in Florida. So just partnering with Space Florida this last year, receiving this designation has increased funding opportunities for our district. They are always sharing resources, grant opportunities, professional development with our administration and our teachers, letting us see, you know, what is in demand in the space industry, and not just what you would think about rocket manufacturing or astronauts as the careers, but what are the careers that feed the space industry, the semiconductor industry, you know, design and manufacturing around the rocket industry. Lots of things that we really never thought of as a district and as CTE educators, but this relationship with Space Florida and this recognition and them seeing how passionate we are about making sure students have the credentials that are in demand by business and industry across Florida has just really opened a lot of doors. Our students are getting knowledge of and invites to space related career fairs out on the East Coast of Florida. So if you have a kid who knows that that's their passion, that they want to work in manufacturing in the space industry, they now have that invitation to come out to a career fair and meet the members of that that industry out there. But the bottom line is this is just another way that we increase student engagement and motivation in our students. And this one is particularly powerful to me because 5-year-old Charlin Knight wanted to be an astronaut, but somewhere along the way, I bought the lie that girls don't do math and science, and I changed my trajectory. But this opportunity shows our students that there's room for everyone in the space industry, lots of opportunities. And we're just really excited to have this recognition and be a part of this community. Now, this is leading us to a lot of education opportunities around the Semiconductor Institute, and knowing that Florida school districts are going to have to be a big part of training and providing the skills to those students if they're going to be if we're going to be competitive globally in the Semiconductor Institute. That work's going to have to start taking place in our schools, and we're really excited to be at the forefront of that and be able to provide those opportunities to our students and families. And Lisa, next slide. I think it's a big slide for us because we were successfully awarded a $9 million grant in our district, and that work has been part of our workforce education and STEAM Innovate initiative. We will be opening in 2026 the Santa Rosa Center for Innovation. And this is a 10,000 square foot educational facility that's going to serve a lot of roles, but most importantly is that providing that immersive opportunity for students to engage with careers. And we're going to have middle school programming after school. We're going to be K through 12 opportunities for our schools to bring students out in a field trip, place-based learning experience. We're going to be engaging our local business and industry partners in this work. We've already had a local automotive industry partner who wants to sponsor. We'll have a small automotive shop where students can learn about small engines, how engines work. We'll have some construction and engineering space that we're seeking sponsorship for, but one of the things that we're trying to do is increase students' awareness of careers, and also to build that passion and ignite that passion for them for what they might want to be when they grow up. So one of the big pieces that we're excited about is the summer camp aspect of this, and it'll allow us to dive into different career areas with our summer camp programming there. But we actually started the programming during the 24-25 school year. We don't have a facility, but we are doing the programming out of our office. We've increased our team here at the district office, and we're taking that programming out into our schools. We're leaning into classrooms. We're leaning into STEAM nights, just being that arm of workforce education into our schools and our community through this work. But we're really excited to be opening this facility in January of 2026. And really can't wait to get this work started in our district. We started the work, but to bring this work into under one roof, we're excited about that. So my last slide is just how you can connect with me if you have questions or you want to see our resources. But with that said, thank you guys so much for giving us the opportunity to talk about what we're doing with workforce education in Santa Rosa County. And Dave, I'll be happy to answer any questions or talk about anything else that you'd like me to share today.
Charlin, this was awesome. And it's obvious from the chat that you have lots of people thinking about what you're doing and what they can do. So thank you so much, Charlin. What I shared with everybody is that if you would like, you can actually look at the chat and you'll see the questions. There's probably about half a dozen of them. And some of them may be a short answer. Some of them, as you indicated, they might be better off in a back and forth email. So we will share your email with everyone, but you can take a look and see. And if there's any comments you want to make in the chat, that would be great. But Charlene, thanks so much. I've spent a lot of time with you, and it was so neat to hear all the things because there was so much I didn't know about. And so just sharing everything that's going on is fantastic. So
thank you very much.
yes, much appreciated. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears, and I'd like to say hello to Irene Parisi. Hi, Irene. So let me begin by introducing Irene, and Irene serves as the Chief Academic Officer for the Connecticut State Department of Education. Irene's work in education draws on her years of teaching students in grades 3 and 5 in Meridian, Connecticut, instructional coaching, the Director of Curriculum in East Windsor, and then Assistant Superintendent for Greenwich Public Schools in Connecticut. Excuse me. She's leading the change in literacy instruction, digital integration, curriculum design, and personalized learning environments. As the CAO for the Department of Education, Irene has been working with the team to co-create a renewed ecosystem of support for Connecticut's school districts to modernize and elevate high-quality curriculum and instruction. Irene is recognized statewide for her work in designing digital learning environments, developing a personalized professional learning system, and for her commitment to advancing equity through anytime, anywhere access to high-quality model curricula and open education resources. Irene is currently leading a pilot for the effective integration of AI enhanced instructional resources statewide. It's with great pleasure that I say hello and introduce Irene. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I'm really grateful to be here with the Defined Learning team. You and Lisa, and certainly Andy, the whole team, are phenomenal partners in what we're trying to do. I am going to share my slides, so you'll have to let me know, Dave, that this works. Think we're good?
You're all set.
Awesome. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. In the next 9 slides, I want to be able to share our why, our how, and our what, our opportunity for our lessons learned, to share the emerging practices, Q&A perhaps, what the future holds for us, and how you can certainly connect with us. I also do want to take a moment to thank Charlin for all of her amazing work at that real micro level. I learned a few things, I took some notes, so I was really grateful to be going after you. But you prompted a lot of thought for me and for us as a state education agency. So thank you, Charlin, and congratulations on all the amazing work that you are able to do. So as you can see here, this is our theme this year, a universe of opportunities. So if our commissioner were here, she would say to you that the ecosystem we are trying to create will create a universe of opportunities for all of our learners. And I'm going to try and share with you, again, how we are creating career-connected learning across all areas. So much like what you heard before, this is our why. This is the Connecticut landscape. You can see here by the numbers, the number of school districts we serve, the number of programs, our staff, and certainly the number of students, 512,652 students that are counting on us. And you can see certainly the number of students in different learner groups. And we focus on this, we hover over this data quite a bit as we're trying to design different learning experiences or even procure different resources for our teachers and for our students and families and the community at large to utilize for whatever the reason may be or the need may be. I'd like to hover over this more than 180 languages spoken. That's important to us, and we work very hard to ensure that all things are translated in those top languages. And that's another reason why we choose resources like Defined Learning that can ensure accessibility for all of our Ls, MLs, or English learners and multilingual learners. So again, thank you, Defined. And the other is it's very important to recognize our students that are experiencing homelessness, because we want to make sure that wherever they are living, they can come to school and learn, and we meet them where they are. Again, why Defined as a partner has been so critical for us, because this is what drives us each and every single day. More of our why is our state board plan. So I've highlighted 2 of our State Board of Education 5-year comprehensive plan here. Goal 3 is to elevate our curriculum frameworks. Again, this is what drives us. We believe that we must design curriculum, or curricular resources must be designed by the state board approved standards. And you can see here, it's in the spirit of engaging and creating engaging instruction, being responsive to our learners, as well as responsive to this age of AI that we are in. Our 4th goal is to create opportunities for students to explore multiple career pathways. So we really want to coordinate with, much like what we've heard before from Florida, with our Office of Workforce Strategies, as well as our adult education providers, our other workforce industry partners, our local and regional boards of ed. So we really want to elevate this goal as well. And as you can see on the cover of our state board plan, it really is to ensure that every student is prepared for learning, life, and work beyond school. We are an open education resource state. And what that means is we believe in providing high quality instructional materials for all learners that are accessible for our adult and student learners and families anytime, anywhere, because we do believe that with that access, we can ensure that there's an effective curriculum, a high quality curriculum in the hands of all learners, and that can then facilitate high quality teaching and learning. So how do we do this and why? I'll get to that. But first, I wanted to share a little bit more of our story, our milestones. So yes, I'm going back to 2020 because that was our charge at that time, at the height of the pandemic. When I actually came to the State Department of Education, our commissioner then was hearing from different districts that they didn't have curriculum, or they had some, they might not have had different digital tools or resources of quality. There was inequities happening across the different districts. So the charge was to curate open education resources and create a site for that, which we did. The ask was a little bit greater, wanting the desire to create model curriculum and modules for teachers to use right away within like a month. We could not do that. So what we decided to do was create an RFP, a request for proposals. We did have some funding. We utilized our relief dollars for this, and we issued an RFP. And thankfully, Defined Learning answered that call for the RFP. So we were able to then execute a contract and then work together as partners to provide high quality curriculum resources statewide. So our aim was to provide Defined Learning to all districts at no cost. That was our commitment. That remains our commitment. And part of that is to get users. So we developed together a professional learning series and worked on implementation. I will tell you the Defined Learning team worked very, very hard. We meet regularly to talk about what are the challenges, what can we do different. So that gets to that ideation, and we continue that, as you can see, in 2024. And our hope is to go beyond 2025 into the out years to continue to provide these resources to our teacher colleagues statewide. It's been an interesting journey going back and thinking where we were in 2020 to where we are now. It's pretty incredible. Couldn't have done it without the partners at Defined. This is just a visual illustration of what we were doing along that timeline. So the Accelerating Learning, Advancing Equity is our CT Learning Hub. That is where we started to curate open education resources. This is still alive and kicking. We continue to provide more resources. And what this does is it's our responsibility to review the resources that are coming in, and we vet them. And then we push them out through our CT Learning Hub, because we want teachers to be able to come here to this hub and use these resources with confidence and know that the State Department of Education has reviewed them and that now they can use them in their classroom with their learners for whatever the need might be or whatever the context might be. The other way we do this is I've circled the online learning hubs. This is one of the sub-hubs. So our online virtual content learning hub is where teachers can go to access our statewide platform. Our statewide platform is Go Open Connecticut. So this is our universal space for accessing all of our model curricula. This is something we were also committed to, again, going back to that journey and related to the pandemic, we realized and had learned that not every district had access to just a foundational curriculum designed by the standards. So we set out to create units of instruction across K-8 for a number of areas. You are welcome to go to goopenct.org now, and you'll see that we've released 8 model curriculums, 4 in the major content areas, as well as financial literacy, computer science, digital citizenship, as well as our African American, Black, and Puerto Rican Latino studies. The reason why I'm sharing this is that we are committed to high quality curriculum, but we worked intentionally with the Defined Learning team to give them our curriculum and for them to tell us, how do your tasks align to our curriculum? And this last page here where the arrows are going in the gray box, it shows you these are opportunities to apply the learning. And this is critical because these are the defined learning tasks that have been identified. So if you think for a moment, we've taken the guesswork out of it, I guess, for teachers, given them time back in the classroom because we've already done that work of alignment. We've highlighted these tasks that make sense to those core content areas. So this is a math example for grade 5. We've done the same thing for social studies, for science, for English language arts. Think about how this is a game changer for teachers as they're trying to plan the learning experiences. And again, this just shows what we're committed to, and this is how we do it. So I think a win has been that we have directly aligned the defined learning tasks to our model curriculum. So as a suite of resources, we can really support our teacher colleagues and districts and ultimately the students that are sitting in front of them. So Dave, if you like, I can pause there. I know we were asked to pause and reflect, so we could take a look at the chat if you'd like, or I only have a few more slides we can go through and go there.
Yeah, Irene, just kind of thinking through the chat, and just a kind of a general question. You know, as you think about this, the equity of for students and for schools, beyond the standards, what were some of the commonalities that you were looking to offer to the students to support their learning? You know, I know we talk a lot about workforce, and I was just curious, because people that don't know Connecticut, there's a lot of diversity in Connecticut of a variety of different pieces, and I was just curious.
Right. A couple of things that you make me think of. So commonalities. I think having access to just a core guaranteed curriculum is a game changer for learners. And we were really, like most states at the time, focused on how do you accelerate the learning, given any kind of learning loss that they might have experienced. So our curriculum with the defined learning helped us meet the learner where they were, regardless of that starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the beauty of the online resources, because you can customize, you can make it fit your setting. And I think that just does help create a common vocabulary too, or a common learning experience for the learners across all the states. Because you'll know, I know you know, Dave, but in our professional learning opportunities, which I'll speak to, we were trying to create a network of learners or a community of practice with our teachers. So Connecticut has identified locales. We have urban, suburban, and rural. We were trying to get everyone from all over the state to come together as a community of practice and share their experiences. So oftentimes you talk about the same challenges, but there are differences based on your locale. So I think that's what we were trying to do too, that if you're in a rural setting in that northeastmost corner of the state, you can still have access to this kind of learning and make a difference in the life of that learner and connect them to any kind of post-secondary experience.
Absolutely. And we have a question, and obviously I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it from your side. But one of the questions was the alignment that you talked about, obviously between, Connecticut, the standards, and Defined. How is that alignment created? And obviously I know, we did it, but can you talk about it from your side, how you were looking to have that alignment done so it served all students?
Well, I may have to lean on you a little bit, Dave, because
Okay,
there's a
no
lot of
worries.
work, but there was a lot of work behind the scenes on your side because we gave you our units of instruction. So to get to those units, we created a design leadership team, right? We had teachers. It really is a curriculum developed by teachers for teachers. So it has the research-based elements of any curriculum. And so we gave it all to you. We gave you access to all of those units with a simple template grid to say, here's our units for K through 8 in this core academic area. And you and your team went through to recognize those standards and those units, and then intentionally found that task, right? To then align with it. So you can speak to the points of pain, I suppose, on your side.
I appreciate that. I was setting you up to bring up my pain, but no, but that's exactly what Irene said. So all the information, the excuse me, courses of study, the academic standards, and then what we did is we aligned them. All of our tasks are aligned to standards and shared them, and now they're in Go Open, and it's a great resource that we're always pointing people to in our work, and I know Connecticut points to in their work, as well as through our community of practice on Go Open, the discussion group. So great. Thanks very much, Irene. That was a question that I thought I would ask from your side. So I'll be quiet. Thank you.
Well, it was no small task, as you know. And as soon as you finished one, we said, okay, now we're ready with this next content area because we knew the power of it. And we were hearing that in our professional learning, or we were able to highlight that in our professional learning to say, and also, if you are an elementary teacher or a middle school teacher, you can see the alignment so that there's that interdisciplinary approach, because then the conversations can be different, right, with the learners. So again, thank you for doing all of that work with us. But with all of that, I think I'll move on because again, I have a few slides, but wanted to call out the key findings. What's the impact out there? So Defined again as a tremendous partner in really pushing to look at the data. And we have these conversations all the time in our regular meetings. So how is this working for us? We did all of this work. We worked together to provide numerous professional learning experiences. So how is that working for us? And so this mini dashboard, you can see that it's making a difference in student engagement when it's really being implemented well and in partnership with Defined. We've seen increase in those power skills of the learners that we're trying to develop, the idea of teamwork and collaboration skills, even the communication skills. So an overall performance. I think what we've been able to see is kids are running back to school as a result of having these type of high quality materials and then that high quality instruction. So a few things here. It's always a moment when we do our professional learning and we hear from our teacher colleagues, I didn't even know this existed. So we smile, and yes, it's been around for some time. So now how do we get you started? So that's always, sometimes we hear that, even though we say we've communicated 7 times, 7 ways, we need to communicate more and in a different way. As you can see here, people really do appreciate how the tasks align to those standards because we are committed to designing instruction by the standards. And we recently had a CTE summit, Career and Technical Education Summit, for all CTE certified and then some educators to come together in the same space. We had over 300 attendees, and Define was there doing a session for us. And it was amazing for them to see this cross-pollination of work but also to see and understand how defined and defined careers can make a difference in their CTE courses. So I think we saw some uptick there. And from that, we created some personalized professional learning for them. So there's more impact that we're seeing every week and after every session of professional learning. I think the big thing too, we continue to grow networks and those community of practice with the teachers across classrooms and content areas, as well as school counselors. I think that's another critical piece, bringing them into this because the more they know, they can help with that career advising in the school setting. Some lessons learned I wanted to share. Yes, there were initial challenges, but we then worked together on how might we solve this particular challenge. I will say professional learning across Connecticut sometimes is a challenge because as small as we are, it is a bit of a challenge to come down from the different corners of the state for PD. So we always tried to be centralized for them to come to and create that hub, but we have branched out too into the four corners of the state. Some other challenge, let's see, what did I write? The pandemic, of course, was a significant challenge and access to high quality instructional materials, but this is why acquiring Defined Learning as a partner and having access to their resources was a solution to that particular challenge. Also, trying to find opportunities for the teachers to see themselves in the resource, and that's where the CTE was a big push for us. It was always easy to say, well, no, that's not for my class, or we already have these resources. So we really had to push in of like, well, wait, hold on, let me show you. And then as a result, and showing them how we've aligned to the curriculum or to the standards, then they can see themselves in the resources. So we still want to get more users. We're not fully saturated across the state, but that's my aim. That's my future. We hope that 100% of our teachers and students are using these resources. Best practices that have been developed, I think, as I already mentioned, the CTE Summit, where we were able to bring the 9-12 teachers, even the 6-12, because we do have CTE in the 6-8 space, all together to think about how they might use this in their classrooms to grow those pathways for learners. We're very fortunate to have the governor present to speak to everyone, as well as the director of work or the chief of workforce strategies. And she actually attended the Defined Learning professional learning session. So what that did is actually build awareness of the resources that we as an SEA are trying to provide for teachers. So they may not have to go out and find it. We ask them, how do you help advance the resources that we already have in place? Adaptations made based on feedback. This has been critical. We listen to the teachers and they're very loud and clear of what they like and what they do not like related to professional learning. So we're always ideating or iterating on the professional learning. Communication is critical. So we've always made adaptations on how we communicate. Are we being understood? And this is where the Defined Learning team was very critical in helping stand up a site page where we can direct teachers to, they can register and then get an implementation specialist assigned to them. And it's a very quick turnaround for access to resources. Going back to the best practice too, I'm sorry, the aligned model curriculum, I think that's been a game changer for us. Some key success factors have been this partnership with Defined Learning. They clearly are a model for what we expect with future partners. So we always appreciate their flexibility. A key success factor, we have seen a shift in lesson design in the classroom. So whether we see it at the professional learning experiences or we go out and visit in the site visits to see it in action, we're seeing that shift to how might we develop those power skills in our learners, or even the talk moves, how the teacher is navigating the conversation with students, and certainly student engagement, because they are seeing real world tasks. I know some of the tasks might have animation, but then there's actual live action videos for the students to connect to, especially at that secondary space. It's really critical. And oftentimes they can see themselves in that career and say, okay, how I'm going to move forward. So those are some of our lessons learned. And then we get to our future. So what does the future hold for us? Our expansion plan. So we want to continue with this work. So that means we need to build awareness and work with our legislation to ensure that we can provide this further, working with the governor to support the budget for this. So we want to continue to expand in that way, but also build out more of the career pathways. I'm a little jealous about the Santa Rosa Career Pathways website, so that might be something I have to consider. I do see an opportunity with advanced CTE adopting the new career clusters. I see that as an opportunity, so that might help us expand in different ways. New features and improvements. We've had these conversations with Defined about AI enhancements and what's the future there, because we know that there is an AI imperative that we have to pay attention to. So this is part of that work with our pilot, but also how do we continue and how might we help teachers use the AI enhancements embedded in the tools and the resources. We do want to create more high school curriculum so that we can have high school teachers 9-12 actually see themselves in the curriculum and in the alignment of defined learning. Additional industry partners or cross-sector partners. We've already started with our aerospace partners. We have initial partnerships with General Dynamics, Electric Boat. So super excited by that. But we also want to connect and expand too with partners in business, because business is cross-cutting. The business of manufacturing or the business of building a submarine or the business of IT, that is really foundational skills. So we really want to lift business as a cross-cutting cluster concept, if you will, across all of our industry work and career connected learning. And long-term vision, there's a couple. We have a student success plan guidance. We have legislation for that. So this is an opportunity to lift that up and make some changes so that it becomes a companion, and defined careers becomes a companion to the work that's required and just necessary for student success planning. Again, the new cluster adoption, I think that's going to be critical in how we think about career connected learning. And we're really focused on expanding the access and reach of defined learning, defined careers to our adult education providers. This is critical because they have very similar post-secondary goals and outcomes, as does the career and technical ed and all other post-secondary expectations. And we have to report federally. So we think in our credit diploma program, our GED, and also other pathways, Define can help us build that. So we really want to expand more and do the same thing, like helping adult education teachers and providers see themselves in the defined resources so that they too can help engage their learners. Their learners begin at age 17 to 60. So they all, if that's the kind of learner you are, then these are the resources that you need. And finally, I just wanted to share our contact information. We're more than happy to help with presentations, professional learning, communication. We'll share our resources. So you have my contact here. And I added Paul Castiglione, who is a consultant for the department. He's also our curriculum coordinator. He is our point for defined learning. All things go open. You have questions about the curriculum and the curriculum alignment, we are here to help you. So that's our story, and we're sticking to it. It's been an incredible journey, and really appreciate the opportunity to share with you today.
Fantastic. And I'll just reiterate, Paul is a great resource. If you have questions, he'll always be happy to help you. He's been a fantastic resource over the last few years. Just a couple comments, Irene. I was super excited as you ended with the adult learners. Coincidentally, last week we were in Hartford having the chance to work with teachers, and that session had a variety of adult learning facilitators and specialists, and we had a fantastic day. I left so impressed just with all they do to help a variety of adults just kind of get through everything from their GED to find work, to know how to look for work and be successful. So I also know in past conversations with Charlin, and we were at an administrative conference this summer in Santa Rosa, we got to meet the technical college directors, and same conversations. So you're both absolutely right how important that is. And I think so often I call myself a K-12 educator, but really it's K to you know, whenever we can stop. So, you know, thank you both. And I just want to make a couple points and ask you both one question, and then we'll call it a day. But in listening to both presentations and looking through the chat, I just wanted to kind of reinforce a couple things. And if you want to, you know, but that idea of purposeful support for teachers. I think those alignments, as much as I appreciate the compliments, but those alignments become so important for the teacher, right? Because we always talk about the teachers, they don't have time for one more thing. They need it to be part of the thing. And so by creating those alignments, it saves them a lot of time in preparation and even implementation, so they can focus, you know, on their students. And then also the other comment was the focused, purposeful professional learning. And in both of the instances, I worked with you both a great deal. And that always is an important point of the purpose. What are we doing and why are we doing it? And how can we advance and support the teachers and students, and all students, as I don't think we can ever stop saying all students. So I just wanted to share that piece. And also, as we get to the question, you know, a lot of time and my background is in standards-based learning, but as I'm learning more and more about workforce and CTE, that idea of the context being the pathways and the skills needed in those pathways and clusters is critical. So thinking about how we align that is also really important. So I just wanted to ask one question. This is from the chat, and I'd just like to ask you both, and Irene, maybe we'll start with you, and then Charlin, I'd like you to answer as well. And it's really, what advice would you give to schools, to educators who need to improve their elementary and middle school career exposure and exploration strategy? Sorry, Irene. I thought with the grade 3 and 5, because in my mind, I was like, wow, that seems so powerful. And I'm a high school teacher, and it took me a long
There's
time.
a lot there.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So here's my thought. So when I was a kid, and I'm thinking about myself in 3rd grade, I loved music, and I started playing piano when I was 4, and then went on to other instruments. But I had 3 teachers in my life that really made a difference. Mrs. Gottimer in my 3rd grade, who helped me with penmanship. Now I'm dating myself, back in the 70s, penmanship was a big thing, right? That's a power skill. You need to write. My art teacher, who saw the art in me, and my later on in high school, my orchestra leader. And so they helped me figure out the career, and build upon my passion. The reason why I share that is that I knew back then what my passion was. And I loved music. I loved to create. And these teachers cultivated that in me. So I think what we have to dispel is this idea that kids don't know thyself. That kids don't know who they are at an early age. They do. They know the kind of ice cream they like. They know what their favorite color is, their favorite stuffed animal, their favorite TV shows, but they also know what they're really good at, because then they continue to do those things. So I would hope that we can dispel that notion that kids don't know in elementary school and then in middle school what they want to do. Now, they may reinvent themselves, but they're always reinventing themselves on something that they're passionate about. Now, I did go into music. I went into a music career, but then I pivoted and wanted to teach music. So my passion's still alive. I know thyself. So that would be what I hope I can do, what we can do as an agency, as we continue to provide these resources, that talk with the learners, let them articulate what their passions are. They may reinvent themselves, but let them talk about it. It's okay if they change. So
that's fantastic. Thank you, Irene. And Charlin, what do you think?
Will you repeat the question for me, Dave?
I will. All right. That's a lot of repeating. Hang on one second. I think I had moved away from it, so bear with me. Oh, hang on. There it is. I found it. Okay. What advice would you give for a school or school system or educators that need to really improve their elementary and middle school career exposure and exploration strategy?
Okay. Well, for us, we have been doing STEAM Innovate for the last 12 years. And we all know that continuous improvement is part of education, but we saw in workforce education that our STEAM innovators needed us to lean in more. So our team started a few years ago going to the professional development for our STEAM innovators and showing them the career pathways that we were preparing students for, because our elementary educators often only know education. Some of them haven't worked in other career fields, and they're not thinking from that lens of career exploration. So I think providing them with the tools to know what the careers are that we should be exposing students to, and then using your existing career and technical teams, workforce directors, CTE directors, to help you lean in to elementary education and not give them one more thing to do, but provide them with some tools. I know our department built toolkits for the teachers, showing them how math applies in like 20 different career areas through some hands-on activities. So I think you have to provide them with the tools that they need, instead of just calling them out for not knowing how to expose students to careers, but giving them some tools and resources, and then the supports. I know for my department, we have grown into a team of 7 now, and one of our team members is an elementary educator, and I needed her expertise as much as she needed what we've taught her in workforce education, just to understand where they're coming from and what they're facing. So I think we have to listen to them and provide them with the resources that they need to get there.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you both. As you were both talking, I was trying to figure out how to bring this together, and I think I figured it out. So as Irene talked about passion, and Charlin, as you previously were talking about space and being that 5-year-old girl, the two of them came together in my mind, because when I was 5, I lived in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I was quickly told that astronauts and NASA people do not come from Scranton. And kind of interesting, as I've spent some time and learned that a lot of people from the Scrantons of the country are very involved in the space program. And I look at that passion, and I still have it, and that's how I ended up in education. So I just wanted to say thank you to you, to both of you. The comments they've been fantastic. And I just wanted to also thank everyone for engaging with us today and truly learning more about building tomorrow's skills today, through career connected learning. And I just want to extend a special thank you to Charlin and Irene for sharing your ideas, your experience, your reflections, and taking the time, with us today. So thank you both very, very much on behalf of myself and all of Defined and everyone who joined us today. And finally, to everyone, a reminder, the recording of the webinar will be sent out within the next few days. Everyone who registered for this session will also be automatically registered for session 3. So please go ahead and mark your calendars now. You'll be hearing more about Santa Rosa, and also you'll be finding out about Los Angeles Unified School District's career-connected learning journeys. So with that said, I just want to say thank you again. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.